This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com with a daily wrestling news update. WWE brought RVD in for Smackdown last Friday. Of course, RVD had recently had matches in AEW, but he is in the WWE Hall of Fame, and I've done interviews with him many times before, including this year. So it's good to see him back in the mix. Hopefully, it's more than just a backstage interview as time goes on. They could certainly use a guy like him on the roster, and I would love to see it. According to many sources, or first I'll say the Raw rating was 0.49 this week. Not a great rating. As I've mentioned, I mean, WWE is getting kind of stale right now. It's been getting more and more stale the further we get away from WrestleMania, I find, because the matches are very predictable. Everything is very predictable. Some people have mentioned that they are enjoying the CM Punk Drew McIntyre stuff. So there you go for the people that are enjoying that. Good. I'm not that big of a fan of Drew McIntyre, so I can't get into it. But I do think he's gotten a lot better over the years. He's just he never kayfabes at all in interviews, so it just turns me off because I guess I'm old school like that. Where if a wrestler doesn't kayfabe in outside interviews about the angles that they're doing, I just don't get into it at all. It's just my taste. I like the Bill Watts era a lot better. And I really found his shoot interview that I watched today entertaining, that I posted a few clips from. As far as the AEW TV deal, the Wrestling Observer is reporting apparently their last TV deal, which expires this year, was for $80 million a year. And last year they lost $34 million. So apparently their new TV deal is going to be for $170 million a year. It's unknown if that is going to include streaming the pay-per-views for free or not. If it does include them streaming the pay-per-views for free or not, that will affect how much revenue they make. Apparently, there's going to be still the 3 shows, Dynamite, along with Collision and Rampage, which Collision did its second lowest rating of all time this week after doing a 0.04 last week. And they're also going to have shows on a streaming service. So they might be adding more content for content that's already very watered down. But for the people that are all excited about $170 million a year, let's see here. That doesn't mean that they're going to profit. Because, for instance, everyone's all excited about All In at Wembley Stadium that had, what, I forget, 50-something thousand this year. Or no, it was 46,000. But look at all the people they flew to London. What was the rent of the stadium? How much did the fireworks displays cost? How much were the hotels? How much was the travel? How much was the advertising? It costs a hell of a lot to put on wrestling events. And they also keep renting these 20,000 seat arenas that they get like 1,000 to 2,000 people at. It costs money to hire people to put up all that much tarp that they use. And arenas are extremely expensive to rent. I once rented the Colisée Pepsi for TNA in Quebec City. It was over $70,000. So they're going to arenas. They're paying. Maybe that's why they don't fly in stars all that often, even though they pay them a ridiculous amount. Maybe their travel is so expensive that it's better to just sit them at home than fly them into shows. I'd love for someone to figure out how many shows Jon Moxley was advertised for this year on the local promotion posters and actually didn't show up for. I could give an educated guess it's more than 20. But anyways, all I'm saying is 170 million may seem like a lot, but they have a very overpaid roster. A lot of people they don't even use. The production costs are high, and the people don't care about their product. So I don't think, if this is true, what's being reported, that they're getting 170 million a year, that this is going to be a big turnaround in the product. We don't even know how much they're going to lose this year, because that doesn't even start last year. That doesn't even start till next year. They lost 34 million last year. How much are they going to lose this year? Because they've done a lot worse this year than they did last year. So I just watched the Bill Watts thing. He's a bottom line guy. Tony Khan is not a bottom line guy. He's trying to create moments. He loves surprises. He loves Japanese wrestlers to where he has a ridiculously large amount of Japanese wrestlers on his roster at a time when Japanese wrestling is at an all-time low in popularity. Literally, it's the least popular that has ever been. And his solution is, let's hire more and more of them and fill up the roster. Anyways, I just find it funny where people act like, oh, this is great, it's going to turn things around. I hope it does. It'll give me more fun stuff to report on, but I don't think it's going to necessarily be anything special. Maybe he can waste more money on people like Mercedes Moné that have made zero difference and bring an entourage with them, according to reports, and have their own dressing room. You can take more mid-card talent from WWE, overpay them, give them their own dressing rooms, and create backstage turmoil from people like Saraya, who actually is more famous than Sasha Banks overall, I would say. Saraya was more famous because of The Rock's movie about her and the Alberto Del Rio stuff that got a lot of publicity. But Sasha Banks in 2024 is more famous now. But at one point, Saraya was more famous, so I can understand why she's reportedly jealous. Do I think we'll see more WWE returns? I think we're going to see a lot more people that have any value going to WWE as time goes on, because they've just cut back their schedule to pretty much no house shows, unless they're having house shows in like European tours here and there. But they're pretty much apparently cutting back house shows other than very special occasions. The minimum pay is $350,000, and apparently the backstage is better in WWE now than AEW, and WWE is now considered the much cooler product between the two. So I think you'll see, as contracts run out, a lot more people jumping, unless he wants to pay people like the Young Bucks supposedly $6 million a year to work a handful of dates. Then the money is just too good to be true. But anyways, I think it's good. I mean, they were going to be around no matter what. As CM Punk said, AEW is going to be around as long as Tony Khan wants it to be around. But for the people that think this is all exciting and is going to turn the company around, let's see what their actual costs are. Because I remember, what was it, the pay-per-view in Vegas that they had recently that I don't even remember the name of. All the costs came out of that, and the costs involved were astronomical. So I'd like to know what their bottom line is going to be. Hello, Victor Murphy. Anyways, guys, I'm going to go back to watching old shoot interviews, which I find interesting lately. I am talking to a few people. I'm going to get it. What are we? The 17th. I'll get at least 2 wrestling ones with old WWE wrestlers, old WCW wrestlers. This month, I one thing I find is the old wrestlers have so much better stories than the new wrestlers. They actually had adventures, and their personalities were so like crazy and wild. The new wrestlers' wrote stories is, oh, I plugged, and good for them. They're gonna probably live longer. But yes, we did what the writers told us. Then we went back to the hotel room and played Xbox all night. Then we flew home because we only wrestle once a week or a couple times a month. It's just not interesting. The stories are boring these days. Anyways, have a good night.